Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today we are going to take a look at all of the features and deliverables which had work kicking off in the month of July. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, in particular to my latest patron Blake State, and to my latest channel member Mike and Jinx for rejoining. Thank you guys so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So each month, I like to put together a video that takes a look at all of the work that is kicking off each month, but also finishing each month, just to keep us all more informed as to what work is going on in the background. Now, before we get to it, just because a feature on the progress tracker has work beginning or completing in a particular month does not necessarily mean that it will be released that quarter, the next quarter, or even in that year, as there could still be more work required from other teams, for example the downstream teams like audio and visual effects and so on. Or even priorities can shift and it can get pushed back until needed later on. It is, however, a great guide to see what could potentially come to the persistent universe when, but at the very least, it shows us what work is being done at what time in the year. So with that said, let us take a look at all of the deliverables and features that had work kicking off in the month of July. So let's begin with a deliverable that we may see more of this year, post-September, the Fire Rats armor. Now, the Fire Rats are one of the many gangs that hailed from the Pyro system, and so this deliverable is to develop multiple armor variants for this gang to wear. Now, the Pyro system is pretty well known for its gangs, and just like we have seen with the Nine Tails, they are intended to be a pretty ruthless and capable crew, so being able to easily identify each gang will certainly help whenever we have run-ins with them. For the Fire Rats, I get the feeling they like fire, so that could have some influence on what they're wearing, but the work for the Fire Rats armor began right at the end of July and lasts 6 weeks, with the Star Citizen character art team until early September. And as we know, after quarter 3, it will be the road to 4.0, and they will be sharing a lot of Pyro and 4.0 stuff, so we may even see them then. Now next up we have Flak ammunition, which states it is a new damage type that triggers on proximity or expiration, causing a concentrated burst of shrapnel to damage targets in an area. Now this is going to be quite a lot of fun to use, I'm sure, and I can just imagine firing at ships overhead while trying to defend our bases. Also, when the physical damage system is implemented, this is going to be quite effective, I feel, with shrapnel potentially tearing through ship hulls and maybe even hitting components. A great new addition, however, the 2 weeks work here on the progress tracker is with the narrative team. That kicked off late July and will be done early August. So chances are this is not the work to get it in game, it is more establishing this ammunition type in the lore, like the manufacturer perhaps, and so on. So let us talk ships and vehicles for a few moments. This next ship is one that I think many of you, including myself, are eagerly awaiting. It is the RSI Apollo, which is RSI's medical spacecraft. Basically, it's a mini hospital capable of healing all wounds from Tier 3 to Tier 1, but also acting as a mobile respawn point, so long as you have at least one Tier 1 bed, of course. Now, this will be such an effective and useful ship in the verse, as it's not a huge ship, it's not small, not as small as the Cutlass Red, so the Cutlass Red will still be an ideal ship for many difficult to reach patients, but having the Apollo on hand will unlock so many potential use cases and maybe even become quite an important target if it's used by others as a mobile respawn point. Now for me personally, I just love the idea of responding to medical beacons and helping those in need, but I do look forward to seeing the medical profession and its mechanics expand beyond the current implementation, and maybe having the Apollo can actually help with that. Now, I don't know if this is the Medivac or the Triage, it doesn't specify, but this ship has 35 weeks work from the US vehicle content team that began mid-July and should be completing by March next year. So quite a wait, but if all goes well with the 4.0 patch, by that time, we could be venturing into Pyro together, and I think the Apollo being around to rescue all those who maybe didn't go in prepared is going to be a great help. The next vehicle is the Robert Space Industries Lynx, which is the actual ground rover that was bundled together with the RSI Phoenix. Now, not a lot is known about this vehicle or how it will differ from the Earth rover, but this has been a bit of a legacy vehicle for some time, so it's very nice to see it finally coming around, and I'd love to see what it looks like, as I think the concept art that we had for it was very old or not official, I can't remember. But the work on the progress tracker for this RSI Lynx is only concept work, and this is likely the vehicle that we have been reading about in the monthly reports regarding concepting, as it only had 3 weeks work, which finished mid to late July. I do suspect a new concept sale will pop up soon, but also once this does make it in-game, all of you Constellation Phoenix owners will finally get their vehicle. Now, there is only one new unannounced vehicle on the progress tracker that has work starting and finishing in July, which has work actually from the audio and visual effects team only, strangely enough. So only the downstream teams. Now, I'm not sure what this means, but it could be that the vehicle was created a while back and it's now being put through its final stages on the ship pipeline. I assume it's going to be a straight to flyable or drivable vehicle, as it's having these two elements set up from the downstream teams. So fingers are firmly crossed for a salvaging vehicle, but I just can't see that being the case here. Again, as always, do let me know what your thoughts are of what this vehicle could be in the comments below. Anyway, moving on from ships and vehicles, next up we have the Shopkeeper outfits, which involves implementing a new generic Shopkeeper uniform for various NPCs in the persistent universe. Quite a self-explanatory feature, further establishing that believability of the stores, ensuring that NPCs are appropriately dressed for their job. And this, alongside the Shops and Patrons feature, will be quite a nice combination of updates, as the Shops and Patrons deliverable that completed last month is set to vastly expand the behaviours of dozens of shops with the bartender behaviour. So having the actual clerks in the shops interacting with things and responding a lot more than they do now. Now, the Shopkeeper outfit deliverable had 6 weeks work from the character tech art team that kicked off right at the beginning of July and will complete early August. So second to last, we have the new player experience deliverable, and this is quite a big initiative to improve what they say is the initial 30 minutes of gameplay experience to help new players understand the context of the persistent universe and introduce them to some of the game's basic features with updates to landing zones, spaceports, hubs, shops and more. So a great and much needed update, as Star Citizen is already a very complicated game, and it's only going to become more and more complicated as it continues to expand with content. So having a very robust onboarding system is going to be quite essential, and this has 19 weeks work from the character tech art team, the EU landing zone team, narrative and Star Citizen character art team that began right at the beginning of July and will complete early November. So if you are coming into the game before November, I'm sorry. And finally, we have the AI Commuter deliverable, which is implementing the commuter behavior into the game so that NPCs can find their way to travel to their destination. And it says while waiting for a vehicle to arrive, the AI will eat, drink, check notices and timetables, and then board and embark on their journey. Now, although this particular deliverable is stated as Squadron 42 only, it actually got me thinking at first glance. I just assumed it was for the trams and trains alone, especially as the Shubin Interstellar Archon station does have a tram system inside, so certainly needed for that. But it will also be likely a prerequisite for these NPC taxi missions that we had on the progress tracker. I think it was intended for 3.17, but then was then since removed. Likely awaiting certain AI elements like this, and it will come back again. But this deliverable had 12 weeks work from the AI content team that began earlier in July and will finish late September. And the chances are we won't be seeing this until it is fully established in Squadron, working as intended, and then rolling out to the PU. So maybe towards the end of the year, but it could equally be next year. So there you have it. That is all the work that is scheduled to begin production in the month of July. A couple of nice features there. For me, though, the vehicles kind of steal the show this time with the RSI Lynx. Going to be great to see what this actually looks like. But seeing that the RSI Apollo is now entering development is great news, as I am really looking forward to running as a medic, helping those in need, responding to the various medical beacons, which in the not too distant future, NPCs will be requesting medical assistance as well. Right now the medical system is interesting, and there is a lot more depth to it than I think most people realise, with all the various ailments, symptoms and treatments and drugs available, but it's certainly far too simplified for my liking. So let's hope the inclusion of the Apollo will help to further expand the medical profession and get it a bit more hands-on. Anyway, with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. You are all more than welcome. We are now cracking on with 3.17.2 as it has gone live. Big news. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. Does the channel a big favour. And tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, big thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.